September 4th, 2025 regular session of the Clarksville City Council is now called to order. Pastor Derek Simonis with Kenwood Baptist Church will serve as our chaplain of the day. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilman Wanda Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to stand, and Pastor Simonis.
Let's pray. Father, thank you for this opportunity you have given to us to gather here tonight. And we thank you for the leadership that is represented here. And we recognize, Lord, as leaders that we are called to lead with the Spirit of the Savior, with truth and love and humility and generosity. And Father, we pray for wisdom from above to be given to everyone that is here tonight. And only true wisdom, Lord, we know comes from you. And we ask, God, that grace and peace would be filling this room here tonight, and that you would just fill each and every one that is here tonight with wisdom and grace. And God, we ask that grace and peace be on display here tonight in this place. And pray that you protect and bless our mayor and our council members, Lord, and our city workers, Lord, and their families, Lord Jesus. We pray that you would protect our police officers and our firefighters and our emergency responders, Lord, and keep your hand upon them, we pray. And Lord, we lift up the homeless, Lord, and the hurting and those that are less fortunate, God, and pray that you touch them. Lord, lay your hand upon our city. Lord, move by your Spirit in our Clarksville and Montgomery County, God, and do what only you can do. Remind us, Lord, as you spoke through your prophet Micah, Lord, that we are to do justice and to love mercy and to walk humbly with our God. We ask that you do all these things in the name that is above every other name, the name of Jesus. Amen.
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Members, please register your attendance. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
All members are present.
Thank you very much. We do have a special recognition or two. Councilman McLaughlin, you are recognized in the well.
Thank you, Mayor. We have some ladies with us from the Clarksville Alzheimer's Organization, and I'd like to read a proclamation. Proclamation World Alzheimer's Day 2025, September 21st. Whereas the theme of World Alzheimer's Day is Ask About Dementia, Ask About Alzheimer's. This theme encourages open dialogue about dementia and Alzheimer's disease to promote early diagnosis, reduce stigma, and support those living with these conditions. And whereas Alzheimer's disease, a progressive neurodegenerative brain disorder, tragically robs individuals of their memories and leads to progressive mental and physical impairments. There are no known treatments to prevent, cure, or even delay the onset or slow the progression of Alzheimer's disease. And whereas nearly 7 million people are living with Alzheimer's, including more than 120,000 Tennesseans living with Alzheimer's disease, the most common form of dementia. According to the National Institute of Aging, Alzheimer's disease is currently ranked as the 6th leading cause of death in the United States. And whereas 1 in 7 American workers are also family caregivers for someone with dementia, and in Tennessee, nearly 369,000 family members and friends care for people living with Alzheimer's and other dementias, providing 499 million hours of unpaid care valued at over $7.8 million. And whereas it is important to recognize the stories, strengths, and efforts of individuals, family, friend, and caregivers impacted by Alzheimer's disease, as well as the tireless work of researchers who are seeking a cause and a cure. Now, therefore, I, Joe Pitts, Mayor of Clarksville, Tennessee, do hereby proclaim September 21st, 2025 as World Alzheimer's Day, and urge all residents to support those living with Alzheimer's and dementia and their caregivers, as well as support the Alzheimer's Association Walk to End Alzheimer's in Clarksville that's scheduled for Saturday, October 11th, 2025. last year when these ladies came for the proclamation, I had already been dealing with loss in my family due to Alzheimer's on my father's side. And since last year, my aunt has passed, and now my mom is in hospice. And because of the information that they shared with me last year, it helped me cope a little better and know that probably most of us have been touched by people who have Alzheimer's disease, and know that you're not alone, that there are people that you may not know are dealing with that and taking care of family members in that state. So thank you all very much. And if you want to join us for the walk, it's at Austin P on October 11th.
And it's free.
It's free, yes.
Yeah, come this way.
Did you want to say something?
She's pretty much covered it, but yeah, it's like we put a lot of hard work in this, and we don't get paid for this. So it's free. We're volunteers. We raise a lot of funds this year. Our goal is $75,000, and we are halfway there. And we still have the rest of the year because we can raise funds until December 31st, and they count for this year. We do this every year. This is our 20th year of doing this. So we still need to get a lot of awareness out there, though, because there are people that don't know about it. And if you need any kind of information, just reach out to me or to Deanna, and we can get you some information, some pamphlets. We do give free classes at your businesses. It doesn't cost you anything. We come in and train and teach your employees how to deal with people, especially in the financial industry, that if something changes and people or their money is going out where that doesn't usually go out, there's something wrong and they need to be talked to about it because they probably have something going on. But like I said, if you need any information, just reach out to one of us. And alz.org is a website that has a lot of information and an 800 number that you can call 24 hours a day and get advice or help. So hope to see you all there. Yeah, I guess we're doing the picture.
Well, it's our honor to proclaim that September is National Service Dog Month. Is the individual representing the organization here? I don't see her here, but we'll do it anyway, shall we? All right. Whereas we believe in the joyful, transformative power of the human canine bond and inclusivity of all citizens, and whereas in the United States, 70 million adults have a disability and only 16,000 service dogs from accredited training programs exist nationwide, and the need is growing. And whereas Canine Companions created the service dog for people with physical disabilities 50 years ago in 1975, creating a new kind of support for disability. And whereas Canine Companions is a nonprofit organization that enhances the lives of people with disabilities by providing expertly trained service dogs and ongoing support to ensure quality partnerships free of charge. And whereas Canine Companions and their service dogs empower people with disabilities to lead life with greater independence by providing best-in-class training, ongoing follow-up services, and a deeply committed community of support. And whereas National Service Dog Month aims to educate our community about the benefits of service dogs and the laws protecting their handlers, and whereas the City of Clarksville, Tennessee continues to work toward becoming an inclusive community in which all citizens and their trained service dogs are embraced. Now therefore, I, Joe Pitts, Mayor of the City of Clarksville, at the request of and in cooperation with Councilman Deanna McLaughlin, in recognition of service dogs and adults and children with disabilities in our community, do hereby proclaim September to be National Service Dog Month. We encourage all citizens to celebrate service dogs and be respectful of the rights to safe access in our community afforded to adults, children, and veterans who lead more independent lives because of their assistance. It is signed and sealed, and we are proud to proclaim this month as National Service Dog Month. Congratulations and thank you.
So much better at that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next item on our agenda is Planning Commission report and public hearing. Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Madam Clerk, would you read the ordinances before us tonight, please?
Ordinance 09, 2025-26, first reading, an ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Clarkland for a zone change on property located on the northwest corner of Ashland City Road and 41A bypass and Denny Road intersection from R1 Single Family Residential District to C5 Highway and Arterial Commercial District. Ordinance 10, 2025-26, first reading, an ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Ross and Ashley Morford and Armor Holdings LLC for a zone change on two adjacent parcels on the northern frontage of Marion Street, 115 feet plus or minus west of the 2nd Street and Marion Street intersection from R4 Multiple Family Residential District to CBD Central Business District. Ordinance 11, 2025-26, first reading, an ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Todd Morris for a zone change on property consisting of 4 contiguous parcels on the eastern frontage of Trenton Road, 450 feet plus or minus north of Fairview Lane from R1 Single Family Residential District to R4 Multiple Family Residential District and C5 Highway and Arterial Commercial District. Ordinance 12, 2025-26, first reading, an ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Ronnie Ganu for a zone change on property located on a parcel of land fronting on the western frontage of Evans Road, 900 feet plus or minus north of Lafayette Road from RM1 Single Family Mobile Home Residential District to R2D 2 Family Residential District. Ordinance 13, 2025-26, first reading, an ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Tiny Town Apartments LLC for a zone change on property fronting on the northern frontage of Tiny Town Road, approximately 430 feet plus or minus west of Heritage Point Drive from C4 Highway Interchange District to C2 General Commercial District. Ordinance 14, 2025-26, first reading, an ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Virginia James and Jason Feltner family for a zone change on property located on the eastern and western frontages of Ted A. Crozier Senior Boulevard, north and south of the western intersection of Dunlop Lane and Ted Crozier Senior Boulevard, and 1,800 plus or minus feet north of the eastern intersection of Dunlop Lane and Ted Crozier Senior Boulevard, spanning 3,600 plus or minus feet of Ted Crozier Senior Boulevard, frontage bounded by I-24 on the northeast and a railroad track to the south from R1 Single Family Residential District and M3 Light Industrial District to C3 Regional Shopping Center District and C4 Highway Interchange District. Ordinance 15, 2025-26, first reading, an ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of SDRA Holdings LLC for a zone change on property located on 2 parcels on the northwest corner of the Thomas Street and Bradley Street intersection from R3 3 Family Residential District to C2 General Commercial District. Ordinance 19, 2025-26, first reading, an ordinance amending the city zoning ordinance of the city of Clarksville as it pertains to updating the Clarksville Design Overlay District to include Fort Campbell Boulevard and Tiny Town Road corridors. Ordinance 111, 2024-25, first reading. This item was granted a 1-month deferral at the August 7th regular council meeting in accordance with City Code Section 1-204. It's an ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Running M Properties, LLC, for a zone change on property located south of West Concord Drive, east of Fort Campbell Boulevard, and accessed approximately 260 feet south of the Fort Campbell Boulevard and Concord Drive intersection from C2 General Commercial District to R2A Single Family Residential District. And the Planning Commission item not requiring a public hearing Ordinance 06, 2025-26, first reading. This item was postponed at the August 7th, 2025 meeting and does not require a public hearing. An ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Donnie Ray Plaster Jr. for a zone change on a tract of land encompassing 2 adjacent parcels at the eastern terminus of Bellamy Lane from AG Agricultural District to R4 Multiple Family Residential District.
Councilman Streetman.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mayor, I move we go into public hearing.
Motion been made and properly seconded to revert to public hearing without objection. We are now in public hearing. First item on our public hearing agenda is item A, Ordinance 9, 2025-26, an ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Clarkland. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak in favor of Ordinance 9? Mr. Ross, give us your name, and you have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilman Stanley Ross, 308 South 2nd Street. I represent Clarkland GP and their agent Luke Baggett. We're here today to ask for a rezoning from R1 to C5 on some property at the intersection of Denny Road and the bypass. It's about 5 acres. I think C5 is the appropriate use for that area. Most of the properties on that section of the bypass are already C5. This is kind of a island of R1 in the middle there, so we think it's an appropriate use. This has actually come up before the council in the past, and I think that there was some thought, let's give it a year, see if we can get the construction at the intersection finished, and that's, I live out that way, so I know there's light at the end of the tunnel now. We're back. We're asking to go ahead and rezone that. We don't think there's really a major impact. There was a traffic study done when we first applied. There's not really a impact, but there is kind of an issue I want to talk about with this project or this rezoning. And that is just that the way that our access ordinance here in the city is written, we have got an issue where the default is go to the road with the least traffic. And on this site, the road with the least traffic is actually a stub road to a subdivision at the back of the property that feeds into South Richview Road and the light at Richview and Madison Street. And I don't think my clients want to be accessing through that subdivision. I doubt that the people in that subdivision want to be accessing through that subdivision. But the default is we have to do that. Now, we do have a way to fix this. I was contacted about this case this morning. I've been kind of looking into it all day. What we have to do is go to the Access Appeals Board and ask for a variance to connect on the Denny Road, Madison, or bypass side of the property. So that would be our plan. I've actually gone and done some legwork trying to figure out how we need to do this. I talked to the director of streets and I said, should we defer this and try for the variance now? His response was, I don't know if you can do that because we would have to make a recommendation with it zoned as R1 because that's what it is right now, and that would be go through the subdivision. So we've got to get our rezoning and then go and ask for this. And I did talk to Mr. Smith a little bit about that, and he said that the street department would be in support at the Access Appeals Board of that variance. So I've got an email here from him. When I get done, I can pass that around just so everybody can see it. I tried to email it to everybody, but that was not very long ago, so you may not have that. So we would just ask you to approve this rezoning, and I'll be happy to, I'll pass this up if I could.
If you'll give it to Lieutenant Spielhagen.
I'll be happy to answer any questions that the council may have, but otherwise I would ask you to approve this rezoning.
Questions for Mr. Ross? Councilman Holloman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Ross, so when I first heard about this rezone, I was pretty indifferent to it. I do drive the bypass like pretty frequently, almost every day, and I know I'm not alone when I say this. I know a lot of people don't want to see it like Wilma Rudolph, like all the turn-ins, turn-outs, you know. And you said that you'd try to apply for the variance on Denny Road, but really, if you look at it, if you look at Ginger Drive, that to me, that looks like a R1 cul-de-sac.
It's a stub road in the subdivision, I haven't looked at an aerial of it, I've seen the tax maps, but it's a stub road in that subdivision that's sent there for connectivity. So if there were to be another subdivision there, probably the planning commission, the street department would say you need to hook into that. This is not a situation where we would be looking to do that. We're looking at doing kind of some office space, boutique retail things, and that's, I don't think sending those people, I don't think that neighborhood wants people driving all the way through the neighborhood to get to the bypass or to get to a shop on the bypass.
Yeah.
So we do, honestly, I don't know that this will be developed if we get it rezoned to C5 and we don't get that variance. I think it may.
I mean, that's fine if you don't develop it. Doesn't bother me any. But if you do look at the map, it is R1, and then with that stub road right there, it's almost a perfect cul-de-sac for like a R1 zoning. You know, just
I
point
think
that out.
Yeah, I think the future land use opinion map and the council's, or not the council's, but the planning commission staff's position would be that this is kind of out of character at this point. It doesn't line up with that, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the map. I've been on Ginger Drive. Like, it looks like it fits almost perfectly if it was a R1 cul-de-sac. But okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. You pretty much answered the question I was originally going to ask, which was, would your client be likely to still develop this, seeing as that it's C5, it's not anything residential that would go in there? Would they be likely to develop it if they only had access through the subdivision that's already there?
Like I told the councilman from Ward 7, that I don't think they would have plans to do that, because I don't think that the tenant desire would be there if they had to run through that subdivision to get to that location.
And I agree on that as well. I wouldn't see, but I just wanted to, like I said, just kind of confirm that as well. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Councilman Smith, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Attorney Ross, for sharing your information. I heard you say that the street department would be in favor of giving you that variance.
Yes, they don't get to make that call, but they do confer with the Access Board of Appeals.
Yes, I am on that board, and we do have to vote on that.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I don't know if this would be a positive vote or a negative vote, but we hope that you bring a plan forward to show us, or you're trying to have the traffic going through instead of the neighborhood.
Yes, ma'am. And that it, basically the variance would be to make sure we route that out of that neighborhood and don't have traffic going through the neighborhood.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Any more questions for Mr. Ross? Thank you, sir. Anyone else in the audience wish to speak in favor of Ordinance 9? Anyone in the audience wish to speak against Ordinance 9? Next item is item B, Ordinance 10, 2025-26, an ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Ross and Ashley Morford. Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor of Ordinance 10? Anyone in the audience wish to speak against Ordinance 10? Next item is item C, Ordinance 11, 2025-26, an ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Todd Morris. Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor of Ordinance 11? Mr. Riccone, if you'll give us your name, and you have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. Larry Riccone, 308 South 2nd Street. Here on behalf of Mr. Morris today, I know y'all have overviews and you can see this. Everybody knows this road, Trenton Road. I'm sure everybody's looked to the right. There's a trailer park with trailers in various states of dilapidation, and they're just rotting. So Mr. Morris has identified this as a place where he can build a strip center. We believe Trenton Road is perfectly suitable for that. C5 touches this, and it would be an extension of the existing C5. Once he acquired this first piece that would front Trenton Road and extend the C5, we identified, let's step to the side, sorry. We identified 2 or 3 additional tracks in the rear. There's an old joke that some land just holds the earth together. And this is that land. It was in the back. It looked like it came through a tax sale. There was some really weird history on it. The people who owned it didn't really care anything about it. It was not being used. It was generating nothing to the tax base, to the city or the county at that point. And then we looked, and it actually extends to R4, which is coming from the other side. So we put this plan together. We're presenting it to you today. We believe it makes perfect sense. We will extend the R4, and we'll have some multifamily behind the C5. We'll have C5 on Trenton Road, which is commercial. And looking at it, when you look at the urban land use plan as codified by our governmental bodies, this is perfect. Fits the definition. We'll R4 down into a higher density of the C5, which is commercial, and get it onto a more trafficked road. We believe this to be appropriate and ask for you to support this today.
Thank you, Mr. Riccone. Councilman Shekina, be recognized.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Riccone, for that information. I just have a question for you for the viewers and the constituents that live in that area. How many apartments are we talking about for R4? What are we talking about?
All right, so I have that information. We are showing maximum 123 units, maximum. I think the RPC ran a computation of 125, maybe in there on the max, but we're showing 123 on various buildings and configurations.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any more comment or question for Mr. Riccone? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience wish to speak in favor of Ordinance 11? Anyone in the audience wish to speak against Ordinance 11? Mr. Lang, if you'll give us your name, you have 5 minutes.
My name is William Lang. I live at 19 Love Street. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Mayor. This property would, I think for the runoff of the water, that elevation sits at 535, I think, in that area. I've studied it pretty good. I own a piece of property over there. I'm at the lowest part of the basin in that neighborhood, from Publix, from Sequoia to the bottom, which we all know about. I think if we develop and put 123 or even 133 is what they're planning to do, with that, I think we got to figure out a way for the drainage. At the lowest part of the drainage, you have two basins, one at the back. Randall Hargis used to own the piece of property right there off Trenton, right across from Deborah Butts. That's another basin. Then you got Sequoia, which that basin runs over to Mike Siss property. And then that basin runs over to Love Street. I think if you let them put that much water and compromise that area, we will have a collapse. If you look at the development of that land, which I've walked it years ago, not knowing the situation because Randall Hargis owned that property, and then they developed behind it. If you look in the bottom of that basin, it is already collapsing. So if you put 123 units and you saturate the land with a bunch of asphalt or whatever in that runoff of water, where's it going to go? It's going to go in them basins. And I know me being at the foot of a basin on Love Street and Hay Street on the backside of Sequoia, I think we'll have a real bad problem over there. So I think if we vote this forward on that part of it, I think the C5 would probably work as long as the parking lot and the drainage had somewhere to soak other than just running off. Just think about the magnitude of the water. We already have flooding issues in the city. I felt like I needed to speak on this just because I'm down the street and I am sitting at 510. And I'm not the only one that's affected by this. There's 11 other houses that are in my area that will be saturated in water if these basins get compromised with water and they quit taking the water wherever it goes. And they're all going to overfill. We've already got that problem. And not only at my property, but several other properties across the city. And I thank y'all.
Questions for Mr. Lang? Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak against Ordinance 11? Our code allows for rebuttal. If you're in favor of Ordinance 11, wish to offer rebuttal for what you've just heard, you're welcome to come up. We have room for one person, 3 minutes. Mr. Riccone, give us your name again, and you have 3 minutes.
Larry Riccone, 308 South 2nd Street. I looked up Love Street. We're a good bit of ways, but I want to address his concerns and anybody's concerns. First off, because of the oddity that the C5 was first, Mr. Morris had a grading permit, already has a grading permit, and some of the trailers are already being brought down. Because of that, as we move forward on the R4, we've already done the water and the runoff. We are fully containing all our runoff. We're not dumping on anyone. We're not increasing anything. We're fully self-containing all our own water. We have plenty of room to do that in the R4 as it goes back before it gets to the R4. That other R4 connects, I don't know the name of that road. I think it was Burt Singletary did those developments that came in. But we have plenty of room. We are self-containing all our runoff. I've got that directly from the engineer. He's
Council-
watching right now too.
Councilman Shekinah, be recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for that, Mr. Riccone. My question, just piggybacking off of Mr. Lang there, is there any way this proposed development for the C4 part can not only just contain the water in the back, but if it's compromised, can that water stay in the back somewhere versus coming on the north side of Trenton Road?
I mean, I don't want to mislead this body. I know we are self-contained,
Yes.
you know, and because of that, I can't tell you where it would go, other than we have fully accounted for all the rain that we do take, should take, and even now because of the new weather we're experiencing, I know there's even higher margins of error now. So we're fully containing, and just knowing where this property sits, and again, we're a good bit of ways from Love. We're past the next intersection. It would push what I would consider to be east,
Yes.
because that's the wooded land, and that land's been
Right.
vacant, sitting there taking whatever this whole time.
Yes. So is there any way that you can provide the council that information before the second reading?
I can provide all the engineering information,
Yes.
of course.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you,
Any,
Mayor.
any other questions for Mr. Riccone? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor.
We have time for Sir rebuttal. If you're against Ordinance 11, we have room for one person to offer rebuttal. All right, we're now ready for ordinance item D, ordinance 12, 2025-26, an ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Ronnie Gano. Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor of ordinance 12? Anyone in the audience wish to speak against ordinance 12? Item E, ordinance 13, 2025-26, an ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of tiny town apartments. Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor of ordinance 13? Anyone in the audience wish to speak against ordinance 13? Item F, ordinance 14, 2025-26, an ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Virginia James and Jason Feltner family. Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor of ordinance 14? Mr. Riccone, you know the drill. Give us your name and you have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. Larry Riccone, 308 South Second Street. I don't want Mr. Morris to think that I didn't try on his, but y'all probably know this took a lot of my time and energy for the past couple weeks. I don't know how many of you saw the RPC or viewed the playback. I know some of you do attend that. If you did, you heard me say that I did not have enough time at that meeting to present the virtues and the positive impact this transformative development will bring to Clarksville. Today, I have more time. I have two helpers. Mr. Mark McDonald's here. He is one half of Oldacre McDonald. Mr. Bill Oldacre is here. They're the developers. Mr. McDonald's going to address you directly. I also have Janet Wilson with the Industrial Development Board and the EDC, and she's going to talk about the impact it presents that way.
Let me just interrupt you. There's only two that can speak, so y'all have to flip a coin or arm
Ooh, I
wrestle.
thought I had three. All right.
You're one.
All right.
Anyway, keep
I'm
going.
learning as I go.
All right, thank you.
Well, I'll be quicker too, 'cause I'm running out of time. Mr. McDonald's one of the principals, and he's here on behalf to speak to y'all so you know exactly what we're doing. I distributed pictures, and those pictures are important because they show the quality that this developer brings to the project. They also show that they have the expertise for a project of this magnitude. Because of this, I want y'all to see those. It's important that these are pictures of existing and finished projects, not what somebody might do. These are completed projects. These are here and they exist. And that's really important because when you talk to the Feltner trustees, they had a vision for the use of this property. They had a vision, and I said that they reached out and they worked with Old Acre McDonald to bring forward this vision. They could have sold this property to anybody, they could have worked with anybody, but those pictures are indicative of how they will help bring this project to fruition and the quality they will bring and how it will be transformative to Montgomery County and to Clarksville. When I talked to them, it was important to work with somebody that had knowledge and experience. And I'll tell you that Old Acre McDonald does that, and the pictures will show that. I don't know, we'll flip a coin, we'll let them pick. But Janet, Vice President of the EDC, Urban Growth, she has the data, and I know the data, and if I need to, I can spit the data out. This is a project that the citizens of Clarksville want. They want this project to go. The economic impact, when I say is staggering, it is staggering. The economic impact is monumental. The jobs it creates, the sales tax it creates, and the tax on the real estate property tax are things that we haven't seen. The size of it is 200 plus acres. As you look at this as a development, it generates jobs, it generates sales tax, and it generates property tax. Right now, that land is farmland, unused, only as farm, means it's farmland, but it's undeveloped. It generates zero sales tax. It generates very, very little property tax because it's in the green belt, and it generates zero jobs. So we are positives on all of those. I'm running out of time. Sometimes I should just stop and sit down, but I'm an attorney, so we like to talk a little bit. This came out of the RPC with full approval from the RPC board. It was unanimous. Staff recommended approval. When you look at the overlay, which I know y'all have access to, it's a request for C3, C4, and C5. I tell you that's important because it wasn't just a blanket of we don't know what we're going to do. It takes a developer with the knowledge and experience of Old Acre to bring this to fruition, and that it's laid out as it is. That shows you there is a plan. We're going to develop this. We're going to have opportunities for retail, for restaurants. We're going to have this project up and running. Also, this developer has worked diligently with everyone. We've worked diligently with the RPC. We tried to work diligently with all the powers that be to bring something that everybody wants in this cohesive unit. We've tried to address any issues concerning this project. When you look at traffic, we are building an extension of the Spring Creek roadway on the Feltner property. We have internal roads that are being built at developers' expense.
Time's up, Mr. Riccone. Sorry about that. Until you're paid by the hour. All right. Councilman Shekina, you're recognized for questions for Mr. Riccone.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thanks again, Mr. Riccone, for that presentation. I think this book has something to do with your presentation, but I have a question. You may not know the question. Mayor, the street department may have to answer the question. What type of road road construction, road reconfiguration we're going to have over in that area? In particular, Dunlap Lane, Athletic Boulevard, or Athletic Drive.
Your developer.
Go ahead, Mr. Riccone.
Developer at developer's cost and expense will make improvements to Ted Crozier through signalization. The developer at developer's expense will build internal roads that will connect these parcels so traffic can stay internally and combined and contained inside. Those roads will be built at developer's expense and then dedicated to the city. At that point, we're going to connect or extend Spring Creek Parkway from the Feltner lot over, and then maybe additionals after that. That should alleviate traffic that way. All this is done at zero cost to the city.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. You referenced the Spring Creek Parkway, which of course we know is part of our Transportation 2020 Plus plan. And just to verify, you stated that you guys will be or the developer will be responsible for building that portion of it, correct?
Correct.
Versus the taxpayers paying for that.
Right. Developer will build that at developer's expense and then dedicated to the city. The road becomes the city at no cost to the city.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Other questions for Mr. Riccone?
One more so I can throw in my closing.
Nice try. Nice try. Councilman Smith, you have a question. Hang on, Mr. Riccone. You may get a chance yet.
Trying to help you, Mr. Riccone. When do you think that, if this passed, when do you think that the work would start, the erection of this building?
That leads into my closing. That is perfect. Thank you.
Y'all rehearsed that?
Never talked to him. I'm just a prophet.
So, we of course have to get through second reading. Everybody wants to know what it is. We're still, kind of hamstrung with that. We fully expect after second reading and the zoning to have a major announcement, which should be out to the public. We plan to move fast. This is a transformative project. We're asking you to vote yes to transform and benefit Clarksville.
I heard about
Working on
the fees and taxes that we will be receiving from this Feltner's development. And so it sounds good to me. That's all I'm gonna say. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Riccone. Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak in favor of Ordinance 14? Sir, yeah. Somebody give us your name and you have 5 minutes, sir.
Good evening, Mark McDonald. I hate to follow Larry on this.
We don't mind.
My name is Mark McDonald. I'm with Old Acre McDonald, a real estate development company based in Nashville. We've been in business since 1991. We are local. I'm here tonight to talk about the Feltner Trust property, which is 220 acres. Larry's already said that. It's a special piece of property in an extraordinary location. It creates an extraordinary opportunity for the community to see the property developed. We named the project Freedom Farms in homage to the 101st Airborne. Before I dive into the details about the project, let me introduce you to Old Acre McDonald. We've completed over 600 projects in 31 states, which means we've started a project every 15 days for over 30 years. We're experienced developers, and I have the gray hair to prove it. While many of those projects are small, a number of them are significant. Some of our larger projects include Tigertown in Auburn, Opelika, Alabama, which is over 1 million square feet. The Pinnacle in Bristol, Tennessee, which is close to 1 million square feet. Nashville West in Nashville, which is over 700,000 square feet. Century Farms in Nashville, which is a 250-acre project, which at completion will be over 1 million square feet with over 2,000 residences. Of the 66,000 shopping centers in America, all of these projects rank in the top 1% as far as traffic. It's an extraordinary record that we are extremely proud of. You might wonder what causes a success. What's the recipe? I think it's pretty simple, just like all great recipes. Unique tenant mix, great architecture, consistent, unique signage, extraordinary landscaping, and attention to detail. Clarksville has not seen this type of development in the city. To be fair, much of this is because nobody's had a large enough piece of property to justify the expense of creating this type of vision. We are blessed that the Feltner Foundation has been able to be patient to wait for the right time to develop this property. We intend to create something special, friendly, walkable, and cool. While it's a little too early to name specific tenants because we're waiting for corporate approvals, I can certainly say there are several unique retailers interested in the market. You might ask, why now? As you know, Clarksville's growth is extraordinary. Clarksville is about to pass Chattanooga and become the 4th largest city in the state of Tennessee. The growth of the population is important, but almost as important as the average household income is strong and growing. The population compared to many other cities in the state is very young, which means people's economic opportunities will continue to expand and their incomes will expand with it. The employment base is diverse and growing with extraordinary opportunities. In this time of anemic retail growth, these dynamics do not go unnoticed by the healthy and growing retailers that are looking for special places to grow. While the mix of tenants is very much a work in progress, we expect they include a significant discount retailer, a New York-based white tablecloth steak restaurant, many sit-down restaurants, a rehab hospital, a health club, over 600 apartments and condominiums, and a number of new-to-the-state and new-to-the-market restaurants and retailers. There will literally be thousands of variations to the site plan before the project is complete. This is driven by market forces, tenant expansion plans, available land, and our drive to create a unique mix of tenants that will be something special and great for the market. Tonight, we're here to respectfully ask for the approval of the necessary zoning for the property. This is a critical first step to making this project move from the vision stage to the reality stage. We promise to be good stewards of the property, to communicate tenant mix when the tenants give us permission to do so, to do the best job we can to bring the unique mix that creates real value for the community, and to create a great environment based on the time-proven recipe to create a great place to shop or live or work or play. We so appreciate your support of our zoning request tonight to help make Clarksville even greater. Thank you.
Questions for Mr. McDonald? Councilman Shekinah, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Mr. McDonough,
Yes, sir.
when you're talking about tenants, restaurants and things like that, do you have a number, an estimated number of how many establishments you're looking at putting on this 200 acres?
We think it'll be between 75 and 100.
When you talk about apartments, because you mentioned apartments.
Yes, sir.
And you mentioned 600, what's the cap? What's the max you're looking at as far as residential in this area?
We don't really have a cap right now kind of calculated because we're just working on our site plans today, but under 1,000, 600 is probably the right number.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate this booklet that's been put together that we're able to look at. It looks like this is going to be mostly to where it's the outside entrances. I know I've been in other areas where you have, retail centers where you don't have to stay inside the whole time. You're going door to door on the outside. And I won't say that, I'm looking at the pictures, it looks like that's a lot of what you've done. Am I correct
Yes,
in that assumption?
Yes, ma'am.
I know I always enjoy that when I've gone to that in other areas, and I kind of just wanted to see if that was what the plan was, not definitely, but
Yeah.
anticipated to be here.
It is.
All right, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you. No more questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all very much.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak against Ordinance 14? Next item is item G, Ordinance 15, 2025-26, an ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of SDRA Holdings. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak in favor of Ordinance 15? If you would, give us your name, and you have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor, councilpersons. My name is Alan Moser, 1820 Business Park Drive. This project will have a much smaller impact than the last project, but it is a direct result of the Restoring Clarksville initiative. There's a derelict house on the property, and I don't think I would have been able to purchase the property if you guys hadn't started that initiative. So I commend you. I commend Councilwoman McLaughlin. Thank you for doing that. I think this is pretty straightforward. It's a spot zoning of R3. There's no other residential properties on this block besides the house that's in need of demolition. And I'm matching the adjacent use of C2, and I'd appreciate your support, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Mr. Moser? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak in favor of Ordinance 15? Anyone in the audience that wishes to speak against Ordinance 15? Next item is item H. Oh, Councilman Brown?
I believe on 14, we only did 2 opportunities in favor.
We only do 2.
I thought it was 3 there.
No, 2.
Okay.
No problem. Okay, anyone in the audience wish to speak against Ordinance 15? Next item is item H, Ordinance 19, 2025-26, an ordinance amending the city zoning ordinance of the city of Clarksville, Tennessee, as it pertains to updating the Clarksville design overlay districts to include Fort Campbell Boulevard and Tiny Town Road corridors. Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor of Ordinance 19? Anyone in the audience wish to speak against Ordinance 19? Members, Ordinance 111 has already had a public hearing that was recognized by the clerk, so thank you for that. So we will recognize Councilman Streetman, and we're at the end of our public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. I move we go back into regular session.
Motion been made and properly seconded to revert to regular session without objection. We're in regular session. Councilman Streetman.
Thank you, Mayor. At the recommendation of our legal counsel, All motions are made in the form of approval. Ordinance 09-2025-26, first reading, an ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Clarkland for a zone change on property located on the northwest corner of Ashland City Road, 41A bypass and Denny Road, intersection from R1 Single Family Residential District to C5 Highway and Arterial Commercial District. Both the Regional Planning Commission and the staff recommended approval, and I so move.
Motion been made, pardon me, and seconded for ordinance 9. Questions or comments? Councilman Chandler, you're recognized on
Thank you, Mayor.
ordinance 9.
I've looked at this extensively, and I can't see why that we would make a developer, why we would punish them for a technicality of making them go through a subdivision. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. I know the people involved in this. They've been good to this city. They do real good work, and I will be voting yes in favor of it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Holloman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. So just touching up on what I said previously. As far as rezones go, I mean, this is a square, like, cut and dry. If you go to Ginger Drive, if you look at the map, you walk the property, like, this is an R1 cul-de-sac. That is the correct use for this land. And like, whether the Regional Planning Commission agrees or disagrees, like, whatever. But if they can get the variance to connect to Denny Road, there are worse rezones that we've done, but that is not necessarily a guarantee. So I will be voting against it. But that's all I'm going to say on it. Thank you.
Councilman McLaughlin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. The attorney for the developer spoke about a conversation that he had with David Smith, and he gave us a copy of email. I talked to David Smith myself because sometimes when people have a rezone and they throw department head names around, I want to hear it from the department head. And I can confirm that David Smith did say that he would advocate at the board to access Denny Road versus the subdivision. And I feel confident in his word that he will do so. If that was not an option, if the only option was going through that neighborhood, I would be in a different position. Thank you.
Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I, too, spoke with Mr. Smith today as well to get the same verification, and I'm grateful that he was also willing to put it in an email to the applicant so that it could be presented here to us. So I'm grateful to Mr. Smith for doing that. For me, I understand the concerns of the previous councilman before that, but I mean, it does, when you look right along the line, right there on the bypass, everything along there is, just about everything is C5 or C2. You've got commercial all along there. So for me, this does fit in there to be commercial rather than residential. And as was stated, if they weren't able to get that, I can't see in any way why they would develop that, because not only would they not want the traffic going through the neighborhood, what's the likelihood that any customer is going to go through that long of a path to be able to get down there to access it? So for me, this one kind of makes sense.
Councilman Brown, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. And, I'm in favor of this, and hopefully that they can get that variance to go to Denny Road. With the road improvements at Madison and the bypass, they've put that access road behind the Taco Bell that had come out at a light from Denny Road. So, if the traffic from here goes back up Denny Road toward Madison, they have a red light they can use to get out of that property on that side. So, with those improvements there, and as long as they can get the variance, I think this will be a good option.
Any more comment or question regarding ordinance 9? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
11 yes, 2 no, 0 abstain.
Ordinance 9 passes first reading. Councilman Streetman.
Ordinance 10, 20, 25, 26, first reading. An ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Ross and Ashley Morford Armored Holdings LLC for a zone change on 2 adjacent parcels on the northern frontage of Marion Street, 115 feet plus or minus west of the 2nd Street and Marion Street intersection from R4 Multiple Family Residential District to CBD Central Business District. Both the Regional Planning Commission and the staff recommended approval, and I so move.
Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of ordinance 10. Any comment or question regarding ordinance 10? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
13 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
Ordinance 10 passes first reading. Councilman Streetman.
Ordinance 11, 2025, 26, first reading. An ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Todd Morris for a zone change on property consisting of 4 contiguous parcels on the eastern frontage of Trenton Road, 450 plus or minus north of Fairview Lane from R1 Single Family Residential District to R4 Multiple Family Residential District, C5 Highway and Arterial Commercial District. Both the Regional Planning Commission and the staff recommend approval, and I so move.
Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of ordinance 11. Councilman Shekinah, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to support my constituent, I'm gonna vote no on this one, but I know we have time. I know Mr. Riccone is gonna get us some more information regarding the water flow and things like that. So thank you.
Thank you. Any more comment or question regarding ordinance 11? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
10 yes, 3 no, 0 abstain.
Ordinance 11 passes first reading. Councilman Streetman.
Ordinance 12, 2025, 26, first reading. An ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Ronnie Gano for a zone change on property located on a parcel of land fronting on the western frontage of Evans Road, 900 feet plus or minus north of Lafayette Road from RM1 Single Family Mobile Home Residential District to R2D Two-Family Residential District. Both the Regional Planning Commission and the staff recommended approval, and I so move.
Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of ordinance 12. Any comment or question regarding ordinance 12? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
13 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
Ordinance 12 passes first reading. Councilman Streetman.
Ordinance 13, 2025, 26, first reading. An ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Tiny Town Apartments, LLC, for a zone change on property fronting the north frontage of Tiny Town Road, approximately 430 feet plus or minus west of Heritage Point Drive, from C4 Highway Interchange District to C2 General Commercial District. Both the Regional Planning Commission and the staff recommended approval, and I so move.
Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of ordinance 13. Councilman McLaughlin, you're recognized on ordinance 13.
Thank you, Mayor. In looking at this, the close proximity to an intersection at Trenton Road that already backs up past the entrance of this, I don't think it's responsible for us to encourage another 96 multifamily units right there. We already have congestion from businesses and residential areas, so I'll be voting no on this.
Councilman Haywood, you're recognized.
I've received nothing but negative support in reference to this from my constituents. This is right down the road from my house. Man of War comes out right here. There's an accident probably 2 or 3 times a week right here at Man of War. So I agree with the previous councilwoman. I would not be in support of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more comment or question regarding this ordinance? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
2 yes, 11 no, 0 abstain.
Ordinance 13 fails. Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Catching my breath before I read this long one. Ordinance 14, 2025, 26, first reading. An ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Virginia James and Jason Feltner family for a zone change on property located on the eastern and western frontages of Ted A. Crozier Senior Boulevard, north and south of the western intersection of Dunlop Lane and Ted Crozier Senior Boulevard, and 118 1,800 plus or minus feet north of the eastern intersection of Dunlop Lane and Ted Crozier Senior Boulevard, spanning 3,600 plus or minus feet of Ted Crozier Senior Boulevard frontage, bounded by I-24 on the northeast and a railroad track to the south from R1 Single Family Residential District, M3 Light Industrial District to C3 Regional Shopping Center District, C4 Highway Interchange District. Both the Regional Planning Commission and the staff recommended approval, and I so move.
Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of ordinance 14. Questions? Councilman Chandler, you recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, once in a lifetime, something comes up. And for our city, I've been living here over 70 years. And I've never seen anything. I can remember when they built the Gibsons up in the Providence and we thought we were getting something great. This is a one-time shot for us. This will put us on the map. It's not only going to serve Clarksville, Montgomery County, but it's going to serve Springfield, all of the southern Kentucky area, Dover. So, you know, we stand to come out real good with this as far as helping out for our tax base. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I wholeheartedly agree with the previous speaker and everything that they stated. I think this is a wonderful project for our community. I think the economic impact that it brings, I know it seems as though the public is very excited with the opportunities that could be coming for Clarksville. I know they were not able to confirm or deny anything at the RPC meeting, and they couldn't still do it here. But there's been a lot of speculation and excitement that's come about from this. And the fact that, as I asked the question about them having to build the Spring Creek Park, a portion of the Spring Creek Parkway that would be right there on this development, that's an obvious benefit to our taxpayers on that. I can't see where there is any negative coming about from this. Everything about it looks to be a positive. And I know from meeting on this and looking at this, there's also potential for other improvements that could happen through this process regarding Interstate 24. So I'm in favor of this. I hope to see wonderful things come about there, and I do hope to see the other improvements that are a potential as well.
Councilman McLaughlin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I first want to say it was pretty interesting to receive an email of support from the biggest competitor, the Cafaro family. Having been a manager in that mall for 18 years, I was really impressed by the fact that they're welcoming competition right across the street from them. And also, as in our other comments, one of my colleagues spoke about the outdoor shopping experience, and lifestyle centers are where it's at now. Having worked for a chain of department stores that went from traditional mall settings to the lifestyle center, I think it's going to open up great opportunities for our community. And for once, we're actually building a big development on a road that's already ready for that kind of traffic in Ted Crozier Boulevard. So I think this is going to be a great opportunity. And if one more person asks me what's going there, hopefully we'll get an answer to that sooner rather than later. So thank you.
Councilman Holloman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I am going to be voting against this. I'm not encouraging any of my fellow council members to vote against it. It does make sense, economically speaking, as far as tax revenue. But the reason I'm going to vote against it is simply because it's a simple logic. If you go back 25 years and then every 5 years you pull random people, just like 12 random people, that matter whether they've lived here for a long time or they just recently moved. Just pull random people, 12 people every 5 years for the past 25 years, and look at their quality of life. Yeah, Clarksville's grown. Yeah, we've got more businesses and stuff that you can spend your money on, but that individual person, their quality of life, I do feel like has gone down. I've seen it. I've been a part of it, but. You know, maybe growth isn't that good. Like, when are we going to stop growing? You know, like I see like the Regional Planning Commission, of course, wanted to approve it. But the interesting thing is too, when you look at city development, especially in Tennessee, they gauge the success rate based off of growth. And so it is to the Regional Planning Commission's advantage to have Clarksville grow as much as possible. So that way it looks good for them. Like that's just, and it's nothing against the Regional Planning Commission here. It's just the way the systems are set up. And I've observed that in pretty much every city in Tennessee I've studied. So like when it says it's an approval, yeah, it's an approval. They approved it, but I mean, really, like the more Clarksville grows, the better it reflects on people's careers. But that's all I got. I just had to get that off my chest, and thank you.
Councilman Brown, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, the councilman from Ward 2 kind of mentioned some of what I was going to mention about the mall. You know, the current tenant in front of this sent out an email saying they were in support of this, and who knows, they may lose some tenants to it, you know, but it's going to bring more people into that area that are going to be shopping. This is going to be a regional location that people will come from Kentucky. They'll come here to spend their dollars. With all the businesses that could go in here, that this company has done business with, we hear a lot from people in the community. We are growing, and they're coming from other areas that have different stores. And they're always asking, why can't we get one of these businesses? And something like this could bring a lot of those businesses here that people are interested in. So I'll be in favor of this, and, you know, just looking at the long run, this could be a real incentive, especially to get a convention center built out there, you know, along with this, close to there. So I'll be in favor of this and looking forward to getting some of those stores that we don't have.
Councilman Shekinah, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I think for Ward 11, this will be a possibly a win for us. I always care about the residents in that area. I've always been talking about how we need places to go to keep us from getting on Wilmore, having to go to Publix on Trenton, or having to go on the other side of the interstate. So if we can have it right in our backyards, that'll be good for us. It will give us jobs in our area so we don't have to travel as far. So for me, I look at it, the residents off of Rossview Road, the ones over off of Professional Park, over by the hospital, all those homes over there, they will have a place to go without commuting very far, and they will have possible jobs they can go to without commuting. So I think for the residents in that area, mostly impacted, I think it's going to be a win for the residents, and I assure you I'm going to be at every meeting I can be at to make sure I follow this project all the way through for the rest of my time on the council. Thank you.
Councilman Peters, you're recognized.
I don't want to belabor this. I'm sorry. I missed Mr. Arcone's phone call. I would have liked to talk. We kept playing phone tag. I think this is a good thing for Clarksville. When you look around at what we have here currently, we need something like what's being talked about coming here. It's very important to the citizens, I think, and it's going to help the tax base. It's going to do a lot of things for the community. I think this is a good thing. I just want to state that for the record, that this really needs to pass, in my opinion, because this is very important and it's transformative for Clarksville. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Anybody else? While I will vote in favor of this zoning request, let's not write too many checks on the revenue that's been promised. And let's also remember we've got some small businesses out there that need support as well. So anybody else? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote?
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Madam Clerk,
12 yes, 1 no, 0 abstain.
ordinance 14 passes, first reading. Councilman Streetman.
Ordinance 15, 2025, 26, first reading. An ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of SDRA Holdings LLC for a zone change on property located on 2 parcels on the northwest corner of the Thomas Street and Bradley Street intersection from R3 3-family residential district to C2 general commercial district. Both the Regional Planning Commission and the staff recommended approval, and I so move.
Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of ordinance 15. Any comment or question from council regarding ordinance 15? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
12 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
Ordinance 15 passes first reading. Councilman Streetman?
Ordinance 19, 20, 25, 26, first reading. An ordinance amending the city zoning ordinance of the city of Clarksville, Tennessee, as it pertains to updating the Clarksville design overlay districts to include Fort Campbell Boulevard and Tiny Town Road corridors. The Regional Planning Commission stated that this amendment reduces the overall effect of the original ordinance and did not offer up a approval or disapproval recommendation. I make a motion for approval.
Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of ordinance 19. Councilman McLaughlin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry, I keep knocking my iPad over. As the sponsor of the Fort Campbell overlay, as we had discussions last month about some concerns of council members, although this isn't what I had hoped for, this is a start. We do need this to pass so that we can try to have some improvements in our main corridors, especially the ones such as Tiny Town Road that still has a lot of open spaces that need some guidance on development. So I do ask that everybody please vote in favor of these. Because we're at first reading, we still have another month, and the sooner we can get started on this, the better. So, thank you.
Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I too will be voting in favor of this. I was not in favor of us making the changes that were made, but however, that was the will of the council. And when this went before the RPC again last week, I stated there that similar to what the previous speaker said, that it is a start. It is something better than what we currently have in place for the area. So I would ask that you please support this and approve this, especially for the benefit of the sponsor and those that are affected in that area. Thank you.
Councilman Chandler, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm gonna step on a toe or two here for a minute. I'm gonna vote yes on this, but the thing that upsets me is, this amendment reduces the overall effect of the original ordinance, and then there's no approval or disapproval. If you're gonna state an opinion, back it up. Say whether or not you approve it or you don't approve it. Because it sounds a lot like to me that, well, we put it together, you didn't vote for it the way we put it together, so, we're not gonna say approval or disapproval. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I do want to just clarify in regard to that. The RPC staff doesn't give an approval one way or another on these. They prepare what is requested of them from us and bring that forward. The lack of an approval one way or another, approval or disapproval, was actually the commission, not the staff. I myself made the motion for approval, and I can't even remember if I had a second or not, but there was not enough votes to get an approval, so I did not have a second. I've slept since then. But there was not enough to get an approval, and there was no other motion made. So I believe that's where that came about, and that's why there's not an approval or disapproval one way or another.
Councilman Chandler, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I think I understood last Thursday night, when it was presented. Everything I've seen the 4 years I was previously on the council and this term, it's either a double approval. It just be man enough to say I agree or disagree. That's why I hit my button. That's why I vote yes or no. If you don't like something, let us know why. Don't be like a little third grader, Nanny, now I didn't get my way at lunch. I'm sorry, but that's the way I feel. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any more? Councilman Smith, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I would just like to ask the sponsor, can she tell me or tell us what are the updates to the Clarksville Design Overlay District to include Fort Campbell and Tiny Town Road corridors? What are the updates and how is it different from the original? How it affects the original? Can you give me some points on that, please?
Councilman McLaughlin, you're recognized.
Thank you. So I'll just reiterate what Mr. Tyndall told us last week. So on tables 9.2 building standards in the Fort Campbell Boulevard subdistrict, same thing on table 9-3 on the Tiny Town Road. The minimum setback and maximum setback, the amended language is according to base zoning. That's for both corridors. And then also under standards and guidelines, surface parking, instead of surface parking shall be located to the side and rear, the change based on what was voted on last month by this body was should. It also, the additional language, it exempts in the Fort Campbell Boulevard and Tiny Town corridors. 1.1.2, the addition, it also exempts the Fort Campbell Boulevard and Tiny Town Road corridors. So it's 3 sections that just have some word changes. And that was what the majority of the council approved as an amendment last month.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any more comment or question regarding this ordinance? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
11 yes, 1 no, 1 abstain.
Ordinance 19 passes. First reading. Councilman Streetman.
Ordinance 111, 2024, 25, first reading. An ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Running M Properties LLC for a zone change on property located south of West Concord Drive, east of Fort Campbell Boulevard, and accessed approximately 260 feet south of the Fort Campbell Boulevard and Concord Drive intersection from C2 General Commercial District to R2A Single Family Residential District. Both the Regional Planning Commission and the staff recommended approval, and I so move.
Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of ordinance 111. Councilman Streetman, you're recognized on ordinance 111.
Thank you, Mayor. I know it's been a while since we had this before us, but I do just want to remind everybody, this one is a substantial downgrade from what is currently in place with the C2 going down to an R2A, and I will be in favor of this one. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more comment or question regarding ordinance 111? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
13 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
Ordinance 111 passes. First reading. Councilman Streetman.
Ordinance 06, 2025, 26, first reading. An ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the city of Clarksville, application of Donnie Ray Plaster Jr. for a zone change on a tract of land encompassing 2 adjacent parcels at the eastern terminus of Bellamy Lane from AG Agriculture District to R4 Multiple Family Residential District. Both the Regional Planning Commission and the staff recommended approval, and I so move.
Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of ordinance 6. Councilman Shekinah, be recognized on ordinance 6.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I would just like to ask the residents that are in opposition, please stand if anyone here in opposition of this. Mayor, these, and council, these residents, they have a real concern. They have a real concern. I went out there, their concern is flooding. Now, their condos or townhomes are right below this proposed development. And the parking lot already has standing water in it, sometimes 2 or 3 inches when it rains a lot, just sits there. The water doesn't go anywhere, seems like. So they already have a concern. Now, I know the proposed development is going to either try to contain the water on site or do something else with the water, but in case, like we heard from an earlier concern, in case it breaks, in case it can't hold it, where is that water going to go? It's going to dump on them, and then they're going to be coming here saying, my property is flooding, you all help me. So for that reason, and that reason alone, which is enough for me to be opposed to it, even though the idea is good, the concept is good, but when residents have flooding concerns, I don't take it lightly. So I just ask for you all to be in support of the residents there that have that real concern of flooding their property, which is already in question most of the time when it rains heavy. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman McLaughlin, you're recognized.
I just wanted to make sure that everybody received the information from Mr. Riggins about the concern I brought up last meeting, that people are not required to tie on if a gas line or sewer line goes through there. I just want to make sure that everybody was aware of that before the vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more comment or question regarding ordinance 6? Councilman Smith, you're recognized.
I have a question. Has this area flooded before? In Bellevue?
Councilman Shekinah, you're recognized.
The apartment complex, they haven't received water in their homes, but the water sits in that parking lot when it rains a lot.
So it just
So,
floods in the parking lot?
yeah, so now with this being at a higher elevation, this proposed development is at a higher elevation. And it's directly these folks, their homes are right below this proposed development because it's right there over there by Silvertown Park. So when you look at it, yeah, that water's gonna go downhill. So even if you contain it on site, and if that site system breaks, then they're gonna get that water.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Thank you. I think mine's kind of a question. I know that this went before the Regional Planning Commission well over a month ago. Then, of course, we had the original vote here. I don't recall, and it was residents from that area that next door previously, their concern was it not connecting. I don't recall them ever bringing forward any flooding concerns until today. And I hate that it's at this point because we can't postpone it again. We have to vote on it. I just don't understand why those concerns weren't brought forward sooner to where it could have been addressed or looked at, and why their concerns changed from what they were previously to now being this.
Councilman Shekinah, you're recognized.
Yes, well, those constituents, some of them did address that when they met with the developer and the owner and all those guys, and they said they're gonna contain it on site. But their stance has still been the same. That's not a good enough answer for them, because what happens if they can't contain it on site? So that's their concern, and their concern is always gonna be my concern. Thank you.
Councilman Streetman, you have the floor.
I mean, I appreciate the answer, and I just wish they would have addressed that previously instead of waiting until today to send it. And I know it was a letter from the HOA that we received as well regarding that. And again, the HOA had reached out previously because they were concerned that the traffic was going to go through their neighborhood, and that's been confirmed that that's not going to occur. Like I said, I would have liked to have, if that had been a concern all along, I wish that had been brought to us previously so that we could have found out more information for ourselves to know if that was going to be a problem or not, because I know the street department is usually the one that can answer those questions, and they do what they can to ensure when everything is being planned, as well as building and codes, everybody involved is trying to ensure that there's not going to be water put off from one development onto the other. That's something that, our departments work very hard on in this day and age.
Councilman Marquis, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you. I did also read the email about the drainage situation and reached out to figure out what was going on there. I'm told that the standards are a little more, you can say, kind of elevated because of the current water situation that we've experienced, so therefore they have to do a little more. But if you guys recall, with this particular lot, the developer was here. They are only developing one section, and there's a slither in between what they're developing and the homeowners over there. It's going to be left undeveloped, and it's my understanding that's for drainage as well. And it's like 125 feet of space in between them that they're gonna do something with the drainage because they have to. So just kind of putting that out there, but there is, I guess, new standards in place to elevate the drainage situation that we're experiencing. Thank you.
Councilman McLaughlin, you're recognized.
As a previous speaker mentioned, this was the first time that most of us were hearing about the flooding concerns, and what we do have is a second reading. So if this does pass on first reading, maybe we can get some of those questions answered before second read, and if there's concerns, then we can pull it. Thank you.
Councilman Shekinah, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And to councilperson from Ward 5, that was a good question that you brought up about that 125 feet, because that was addressed in some of the documents that we received. But that 125 feet, when you look at it, those residents live right before that. These people here, they live right below that. And I'm not certain exactly how many townhomes are there, but it's probably at least 20 that are right below that 125 feet. So the easement, on the top side, they're leaving a house there, but the top side is not going to be affected. It's the bottom side where that 125 feet that they mentioned, that easement. So once that water goes, no one can stop that water. Thank you.
Any more comment or question regarding Ordinance 6? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
8 yes, 5 no, 0 abstain.
Ordinance 6 passes. First reading. Councilman Streetman.
That concludes my report, Mayor.
All right, thank you. We're now ready for the consent agenda. Madam Clerk, please read the consent agenda.
All items in this portion of the agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the council and may be approved by one motion. However, a member of the council may request that an item be removed for separate consideration under the appropriate committee report. Ordinance 01, 2025-26, second reading, an ordinance of the City of Clarksville, Tennessee, amending City Code Title 10, Offenses Miscellaneous, Chapter 1, Generally, Section 10-101, Certain Misdemeanors under State Law, to adopt by reference state traffic offenses, rules of the road, and certain other misdemeanors. Ordinance 02, 2025-26, second reading, an ordinance amending Part 2, Code of Ordinances, Title 13, Utilities and Service, Chapter 3, Gas, Water, and Sewer Service, the City of Clarksville relative to ownership and maintenance of gas and water meters and services. Ordinance 03, 2025-26, second reading, an ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to conduct negotiations and to enter into an agreement for the purchase of easements and/or rights of way, or should negotiations fail, to pursue condemnation through the use of eminent domain for the acquisition of property for a public purpose for the Liberty Park Sidewalk Phase 3 project. Ordinance 05, 2025-26, second reading, an ordinance amending the zoning code and map of the City of Clarksville, application of Charles Thomas Geralds for zone change on a tract of land fronting on the north frontage of Bellamy Lane, approximately 225 plus or minus feet west of the Bellamy Lane and Warfield Boulevard intersection, from C2 General Commercial District to C5 Highway and Arterial Commercial District. Resolution 12, 2025-26, a resolution approving appointments to the Arts and Heritage Development Council, the Designations Board, the Economic and Community Development Board, the Gas and Plumbing Board, and Parking Commission. Resolution 13, 25-26, a resolution approving a retail liquor store certificate of compliance for Tejaskumar S. Patel and Pooja S. Patel, Clarksville Bottle Shop, 549 Neptune Drive, and repealing the certificate of compliance for Clarksville Bottle Shop, 924 Providence Boulevard. Resolution 14, 2025-26, a resolution approving a retail liquor store certificate of compliance for Geeta Ben Patel, Planet Liquors, 2400 Madison Street, and repealing the certificate of compliance for Planet Liquors, 2690 Madison Street. Resolution 15, 2025-26, a resolution approving a retail liquor store certificate of compliance for Viraj Patel, Iron Oak Wine and Spirits at 2631 US 41A Bypass, and repealing the certificate of compliance for Clarksville Discount Liquors, 267 Stone Crossing. The Resolution 16, 2025-26, a resolution approving a retail liquor store certificate of compliance for Yogesh Kumar Patel for Silver Dollar Wine and Spirits, 2700 Trenton Road, and repealing the certificate of compliance for Needmore Wine and Spirits at 2699 Trenton Road, and the adoption of minutes from August 7th.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll entertain a motion and a second on the consent agenda. Motion been made and properly seconded. Anyone wish to be recognized? Councilman McLaughlin, you recognized on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to register no votes on Ordinance 05, 25-26, and Resolutions 13, 14, 15, and 16, 25, 26.
All right. Anyone else wish to be recognized on the consent agenda? Seeing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
13 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
The consent agenda is adopted. We're now ready for the appointment resolution for our Chief Financial Officer, Resolution 17, 2025-26. A resolution approving the appointment of Kristen Wilcox as Chief Financial Officer. I'll entertain a motion in a second. Motion been made and properly seconded. Any comment or question regarding Resolution 17? Without objection, let's do this via voice vote. All in favor of Resolution 17, please say aye. Any opposed, say no. Congratulations, Ms. Wilcox. You are our new Chief Financial Officer. If you'll step forward, we will administer the oath of office. I get the roll on every time. Are you ready to take your oath of office?
Yes.
Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Kristen Wilcox,
solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will
that I will
support the Constitution
support the Constitution
and will obey
and will obey
all of the laws
all of the laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Tennessee,
and of the state of Tennessee,
and that I will,
and that I will,
in all respects,
in all respects,
support and obey
support and obey
the Charter
the Charter
and all ordinances
and all ordinances
and resolutions
and resolutions
of the city of Clarksville,
of the city of Clarksville,
and that I will demean myself
and that I will demean myself
in my official capacity
in my official capacity
as Chief Financial Officer
as Chief Financial Officer
faithfully,
honestly,
and with due regard
and with due regard
to the welfare of the city
to the welfare of the city
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to the family.
Thank you. I just want to thank all of you for this opportunity to serve our citizens and to work with each of you on achieving our common goals for our city. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're now ready for the Finance Committee report. Chairman Streetman, you're recognized.
Ordinance 07, 2025, 26, first reading. An ordinance accepting the donation of certain real property from John T. Rockford to the city of Clarksville for the purpose of a park. Both the Finance and Parks and Recreation Committees voted in favor of approval, and I so move.
Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of Ordinance 7. Any comment or question regarding Ordinance 7? Councilman Lovato, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I have received several concerns about the deed of this property and who actually owns it. I've reached out to our city attorney, who has reassured me that it is Mr. Rochford who owns it, but if it's okay, I'd like Mr. Bittner to come up and explain the issue and why there's some confusion.
Without objection, Mr. Bittner, would you clarify, please?
Yes, so I looked at this afternoon. I did speak also with the tax assessor of the property. For those of you that are real estate gurus, if you do pull up the tax card for the tax assessor, it does show that the property is owned by the Reserve at Oakland Homeowners Association. That is in error. I've spoken with, again, the tax assessor mapper about that, and I've looked through all the indexes of the U.S. Title Search, which is our title examination software for Montgomery County. There is no deed from Mr. Rockford to the HOA, and the tax card is in error. It's being corrected by the assessor's office to show John Rockford is the owner, and that'll reflect that in the morning that it is Rockford. Okay.
Councilman Lovato.
That's all. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bittner. Any more comment or question regarding this ordinance? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
13 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
Ordinance 7 passes. First reading. Chairman Streetman.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance 18, 2025, 26, first reading. An ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to conduct negotiations and to enter into an agreement for the enter into an agreement for the purchase of real property for the purpose of constructing affordable housing in partnership with the Appalachian Service Project. The Finance Committee voted in favor of approval, and I so move.
Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of ordinance 18. Any comment or question regarding ordinance 18? Councilman Smith, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Can you explain this to us? Does this have anything to do with that, land bank, purchase and all of this?
No, it
Is
does
something
not.
different?
It does not.
Okay.
It's something totally different.
All right.
All right, any more comment or question regarding this ordinance? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
13 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
Ordinance 18 passes first reading. Chairman Streetman.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 08-2025-26, City of Clarksville resolution requesting the Department of Human Resources perform a study with regard to a pay adjustment plan separate from the city general pay plan for the fire department and police department employees to target recruitment and retention and return the results of the study to the city council. This resolution was sponsored by Councilman Shakineb. Both the Finance Committee voted in favor of disapproval. The Public Safety Committee voted in favor of approval. Mayor, I would like to turn this over to the sponsor of the resolution.
To the sponsor, Councilman Shakineb, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Again, we talked about this last week. Hopefully, some of you all will have some better ideas to address the concerns. This is not just for CFR. This is also for CPD. And again, what I'm looking at is if there is to be a pay increase for one or both of these entities, what would it cost the taxpayers? Anything outside of city general. And that's what I'm looking at in this pay study. And again, it's not just, it could be 5 years out, but we need to start looking and focusing on something to look at CPD. They have the most critical issues when it comes to shortfalls in manning, but I think we need to look at both of them. And that's all I have, Mayor.
And that's a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Properly seconded. Councilman McLaughlin, you're recognized.
Thank you. Prior to the budget process, I reached out to MTAS, who most municipalities in the state of Tennessee are members of. And I work with both chiefs and the HR department to come up with survey questions that MTAS on our behalf would send out to other jurisdictions to find out what their pay is, what the benefits are, what the shifts are, when overtime kicks in. Very comprehensive, very police department specific, very fire department specific, and then on the benefits and compensation side, HR specific. It did take some time for us to get those back because, of course, everybody else was in budget time the same time we were requesting this information. When the data came back, it was not in a nice, neat spreadsheet of like we would have had it. It was 3 responses, police, fire, and HR from the same cities, and that information had to be input into a spreadsheet. And I was hoping HR would have had a chance to give us an analysis on it yet. They have not, but I have had conversations with both chiefs. They know where the shortfalls are in compensation or where they're not. Police in one situation can't fill positions because there are departments in Tennessee that are paying $16,000 more of starting pay than what we're offering. So that causes a problem here. We have had open positions in fire. The last openings, there were 100 applicants that wanted those jobs. Turnover does not seem to be an issue in the fire department. I did gather, created a document with the help of the fire department. The biggest shortfall, and yes, the firefighters that are here have seen where other cities are making more. The big difference is that the qualifications and the requirements of those positions require EMR. That's not a requirement for our fire department to start out. In this document, you can see the number of firefighters that don't even have the minimum requirement certifications. So what this shows is how firefighters can get an increase in wages already under what we have now based on the certifications that they obtain will get them to the next step. Right now in the current academy, all the people in this current academy will be required to have those certifications before they graduate the academy. At which time, after somebody is a new firefighter and they graduate the academy, then they qualify for another increase. So based on that, I feel like HR, the police department, the fire department have the information that they need to figure out where we go from here. And with our help during the budget process, I don't think that we need to have a pay study because we got that information for free from MTAS by being a member of that organization. So I will not be voting in favor of this. Thank you.
Councilman Smith, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. And I agree with the previous speaker. Also, I would just like to add that if we are able to pay $46,000 for a pay study, then we ought to be able to give a pay increase. And so, since we don't have the money to pay for a pay increase, I think $46,000 will be gone down the drain. And so I will be voting against this for that simple fact. Thank you.
Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. And to the councilperson for Ward 2, I really appreciate all the information that you gave us, as well as the quick reference guide in regard to CFR. I, too, will be voting against this resolution for several different reasons. One, I do not want us to set the precedence where we are directing our chiefs or department heads to include Ms. Luntz, Chief Montgomery, or Chief Burdon in what they need to do. I know from talking to them myself that each of them has said the same thing. We have to trust the process. And I also want to go back to it. There was I know there's been, and it was referenced last week, there was a Facebook group that was created online that said a multitude of negative things, especially in regard to the chief of the fire department. I want to talk about a little bit in regards to everything that's been said there. For one, those in there that have often attacked him, as was stated, we don't have the same requirements that are in some of these areas with the information that they have put out there. The last thing they would actually want is us to do a pay study at this time, because the pay study would be based on what we currently have in place, not what Chief Montgomery is working towards to try and set up for our fire department. I know he's trying to work towards these things because these conversations didn't start after that Facebook group. Chief Montgomery and myself, as well as Chief Burdine and myself, had conversations in May directly following the public safety meeting. I wasn't able to attend in person. I watched the budget meeting online and then immediately reached out to both of the chiefs afterwards. So these are conversations that go well back before that. But I do want to talk a little bit about there's more to the fire department than just what we're paying our employees. But since he's been there, the starting pay in 2019 was, that included the certifications, was $35,000. We had a staff of 237. Now in 2025, the starting pay and certifications is $43,000 for 6 months, and then it jumps up to $45,000. So to say there hasn't been raises, that's a $10,000 raise. You are looking at almost a 30% raise over the span of 6 years. And now the current staffing is 283, so we've increased by almost 50 employees. Chief Montgomery has worked hard to try and grow that. Some of the key changes that have been supported by both the mayor and the council is a rank restructure to add command staff officers and district concept, 15 initial employees on the SAFER grant, a technical squad implementation, swift water team implementation and support. By the way, these are teams that these firefighters wanted this specialized training to get, and this council approved the budgets that allowed those to be paid for. Station expansions and upgrades, new state-of-the-art maintenance facility, new district mega station. I could sit here and go on and on about the different things that we've given them. There's equipment such as multiple advanced tools for tactical improvement, more fire trucks, rescue trucks, specialized swift water equipment and gear, specialized technical rescue squad equipment, second set of gear and lightweight gear, which was a cancer initiative. Again, showing that he is caring about his employees and their health and coming to this council and asking for what is needed. There's been a pay increase every year since 2019. This council, as well as councils before this council, have voted in favor of pay increases that were citywide. They weren't just for 2 departments, they were citywide, but I can tell you that many of those times I supported those because those chiefs talked about the need for those pay to increase. I'm grateful to everything that both Chief Montgomery and Chief Burdine have done for our city and for those departments. And I also think that there would be an issue with all the other departments if we voted on something that we said we wanted a pay study just for them, just to increase their pay. When I think if you talk to other employees that work in other departments, they're going to tell you that without a doubt, you know, our fighters are important to our community, but they would also tell you that they would believe that their position is important to the city. So I think we have to look at this holistically. And also with this being something that's related to public safety, something that I had mentioned in the Finance Committee meeting is that these 2 departments are not our only public safety employees. In fact, you've got a whole nother department that reports to the Public Safety Committee in Building and Codes. You've got employees in Parks and Recreation that are involved in parks and public safety. You've got the street department. We absolutely have employees in gas and water that are involved in public safety. So again, I think you've got to look at this holistically. And then also in here, there is a deadline on getting this back. It would have to come back to the council by March of 26. That's an unrealistic expectation. I've talked to purchasing in regard to this. You've got to have it, I'm sorry. You have to have it out for a certain amount of time. They've got to analyze everything that comes back. And when you put such a short constraint on it that way as well, then you're not going to get the best people applying to be able to do this. So there are just a multitude of reasons for me that I cannot support this. Thank you.
Councilman Brown, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. So, you know, I've heard several times people talking about the cost for this pay study. We have not asked in this ordinance for them to go outsource this, to look at this pay study. So then, you know, this quick reference guide here, that didn't cost us anything to get. You know, some members of the council did it along with the chiefs. So, you know, we have those resources that, you know, HR can ask those departments, you know, give us some information. You know, the survey, reaching out to others. It's just putting a little bit of that information together. And at one time we was talking about annual step raises, you know, that could be put together for that. So, you know, I think some of this could be done internally. And so I'm going to be in favor of this, but, you know, it's just to get that information together. And from what we've been told before, every year we do this anyway with all the departments when we're looking at wage adjustments. So to me, I think it's just as a part of that, but we're asking for something focused on the police and fire department. Thank you.
Councilman Chandler, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I agree with Councilman Brown. Nowhere in this does it say anything about, I've heard 46,000, 54,000, 64,000. There's nowhere in here asking for that. I think I was chastised a little bit last Thursday night because I asked, well, why can't we get human resources and finance together? It's just like when I talked to the president of the fire department months ago. This is not something we're going to be able to settle overnight. I'm not asking for everybody to drop what they're doing and jump in here and do it. I explained to them, again, this can't happen overnight. But when we sat here a few months later and just cut it completely off, then what message are we sending? You know, I don't expect it to be, I don't know where we come up with, got to be done by March. I mean, it might take 6 months. It might take 7 months to come up with a workable plan. And all I'm asking, just like I did last Thursday night, is for us to put and I'm talking about the entire city, put our heads together, come up with something that we might not like, they might not like, but at least we're looking at it. At least we're not just cutting it off right then and there, forget about it, and we'll see what we can do maybe in a year. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Zacharias, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I made some pretty lengthy remarks last week, so I'm not going to belabor those points. But as part of those remarks, I asked my colleagues to take a look at the budgets of some of these other cities that we're trying to compare ourselves to. And I did that. I mean, I had the information, but it's more powerful when you find it yourself and you don't question whether or not I'm telling you the truth. But I don't think anybody's talking about the elephant in the room here. Let's be clear. I want all of our city employees to be paid as much as we can afford to pay them. And we are. Okay? Murfreesboro's budget, $283 million. They spend $1,854 per citizen. Chattanooga's budget, $345 million. They spend $1,905 per citizen. Clarksville's budget, $170 million. We spend $897 per citizen. Until we are willing to be honest about what it costs to provide the services and the compensation that this city, a city of this size, needs, we are never going to get ahead of this problem. Thank you.
Councilman Shekinah, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Some good comments from the council. And I want to echo what my colleague to my right said. Both of the chiefs, they're doing an amazing job. Everyone, we're pretty much going, whatever hand we dealt, we're going to give it our best. So they're doing what they're supposed to do. But the mayor pro tem last week talked about one voice, one vote. We either swim together or we drown together. I want to mention that when I'm talking about a pay study and when I'm talking about pay, I'm associating it with risk. Right. So whereas if you say, well, everyone deserves a pay increase, well, they get a general pay increase. That's fine. When I was a soldier, based on my rank, if you and I was the same rank, we didn't make the same amount of money because I had a high risk job. So I got an incentive pay as a Green Beret. Right. I got more pay than my peers who were in the same unit but were doing different jobs. So it is possible. If we look at things in an unconventional way. And like one of the council members said, it may not happen this year. It may not happen next fiscal year. But eventually, I believe it is going to happen because the conversation is not going to go away. So either we can address the conversation, we can work together, like the council member from Ward 4 said, we can work together to be creative and look at ways for these high-risk positions. If you have firefighters that have the highest rate of cancer because of the equipment they wear, then they should be compensated for that while they in the uniform doing the dangerous job. If CPD is at risk, they should be compensated for that. Nothing against the HR personnel, but what is the risk associated with them? So I'm looking at it from the point of the risk to the job, the danger that it entails. And like I said, as a career soldier, I know I made more money than my peers at the same rank because of what I did. So these guys deserve at least the same consideration. Whether it happens and how it happens, that's a different question, but at least they deserve that consideration. And echoing what the member from Ward 4 said, that's what we're looking at here today. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman McLaughlin, you're recognized.
Just want to clarify my comments from before. The work is already being done by HR and the fire department and the police department to get us to end result without having a March deadline in a resolution. The work's already being done, and I can attest to that because I've been part of the data collection process with MTAS to get the information that they need. I can guarantee that the fire chief and the police chief know what they're up against related to side-by-side qualifications with other cities that are offering more pay or benefits, et cetera. So I just want to reiterate that. The work is being done and has been done. It's just a matter of getting everything together, them as a group, and then bringing that through for our approval during the budget process.
Councilman Shekinah, you recognize?
Yes, Mayor, and I agree, the work is being done, but I would like to see some numbers. I would like to see something in writing before the next before we start doing this budget talks. And if I don't put a deadline, if we don't put a deadline on it, then the work would just continue to be done. So I think there should be a deadline on something, and that will force us as a body to sit and really address these concerns, these issues about pay. But I think it's a conversation that the council, it should be important to the council as a body. And like the Mayor Pro Tem said, we either going to do it or we're not, but we're going to be on one accord with this thing.
Councilman Brown, you recognized?
Thank you, Mayor. Just to kind of wrap up on this, the work is being done already. So passing this is not going to make any difference on the work. It's going to say, we want to see that information by March. And they're saying the work's already being done, so why would we need to go spend money to do it if the work's already being done? We just want to have that information back to us, by the budget season. So, like's been mentioned, the work is being done. That's all we're asking for. We're not asking for $40,000 to go spend on it. Thank you.
Well, there are state and federal laws that we have to make sure our pay plan meets. So whatever money we need to spend to ensure we're in compliance, we're going to do it. Yeah, we can surf the internet. I told you last week, I'll surf the internet. I can come up with a pay plan for every single department, and I can promise you, every single department head will want more pay for their people, and they can develop their own pay plan. But that's not how it works. So, Councilman Zacharias, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one more thing that I don't think anybody's really mentioning. Even when we do the work in-house, there's still a cost associated with that work. When job descriptions and duty positions are written and pay scales are created, it's based on the work that's expected to be done by that position. And when we add work to it, there's an option there. We can either do it in-house, which costs resources in terms of time and salary, or we can contract it out. Either way, it's going to cost money that we did not budget for. Thank you.
Okay, anything else on this resolution? Councilman Smith, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just gonna say, I've listened to everybody and, the input is pretty good, and some is not. But last week at our executive, someone mentioned, and I wrote it down, $64,000 for a pay study. And before that, I read some things on our, my iPad about, there was a request to do a pay study before this was brought onto our agenda. But I'm gonna say this. We take care of our employees. Some sound like, we don't take care of the police and the fire department. We take care of all of our employees. If we didn't, they wouldn't still be working for us. Now, if they want to get a pay increase, they can also do performance increases, step increases, performances like I used to get when I was at Fort Campbell working civil service, a performance increase. And so one of the council members said how Chief Montgomery has, made sure that his employees have gotten the increases. And so I say this, we take good care of our employees. It's not like we don't give them increases, we do. We do it all the time. Ever since I've been here 11 years, we've been doing it. And so let's not get caught up on this one time, they're not getting a increase. Let's not get caught up on that because we have to do things decent in order to balance the budget. We have things we have to do. Sometimes you're just not necessary to give a pay increase every time, every year. But we have given one every year, except for this year, for certain reasons. We did it for the good of the taxpayers' money and to balance our budget. Thank you.
Councilman Shekinah, you're going to get the last word, so. Okay, question's been called for. That's a non-debatable motion. It requires 2/3 of us to approve that. Any objection to calling for the question? No objection, so we're now voting on Resolution 8, 2025-26. All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
6 yes, 7 no, 0 abstain.
Resolution 8 fails. Chairman Streetman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to ask that, and please object quickly if you're not supportive of this, but I would like to combine the next 3 items together. So I would like to make a motion to combine Resolution 09-2025-26, Resolution 10-2025-26, Resolution 11-2025-26.
Any objection to combining those 3 resolutions? Hearing none, seeing none, that motion passes. Chairman Streetman.
Thank you. Resolution 09-2025-26, a resolution authorizing the issuance of interfund capital outlay notes in the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $11,500,000 of the City of Clarksville, Tennessee, making provision for the issuance, sale, and payment of said notes, establishing the terms thereof and the disposition of proceeds therefrom, providing for the levy of taxes for the payment of principal of and interest on notes, and providing for reimbursement from federally tax-exempt obligations. Resolution 10-2025-26, a resolution authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $61 million in aggregate principal amount of one or more series of general obligation bonds of the City of Clarksville, Tennessee. Resolution 11-2025-26, a resolution authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $76 million in aggregate principal amount of general obligation refunding and improvement bonds of the City of Clarksville, Tennessee, in one or more series, making provision for the issuance, sale, and payment of said bonds, establishing the terms thereof and the disposition of proceeds therefrom, and providing for the levy of taxes for the payment of principal of premium, if any, and interest on the bonds. The Finance Committee voted in favor of approval of all 3 resolutions, and I so move.
Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of Resolutions 9, 10, and 11. Any comment or question? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? We're voting on Resolutions 9, 10, and 11. All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
13 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
Resolutions 9, 10, and 11 are adopted. Chairman Streetman.
Mayor, that concludes my report, and I didn't even need a mellow yellow to get through it.
All right. Mellow yellow. Okay. All right. Gas and Water Committee. Chairman McLaughlin, you are recognized.
I might do something stronger for this report. Just kidding. Gas and Water warns customers to be aware of utility bill phone scams circulating throughout the service area. The department employs an interactive voice response automated phone system to remind customer to pay past due accounts. If you receive a phone call demanding payment, please call Clarksville Gas and Water at 931-645-7400 to verify that you do or do not have money due. On August 11th, the Gas and Water Department joined the country in observation of National 811 Day. On this date, or 8/11 on the calendar, it serves as a natural reminder for homeowners and excavators to always place a free call to 811 to have underground utility lines marked prior to any digging project. When calling 811, a Tennessee 811 dispatcher receives your call and notifies the appropriate utility companies of your intent to dig. Professional locators then arrive at the digging site to mark the appropriate locations of underground lines with flags, spray paint, or both to help avoid damaging a line. Striking a single utility line can cause injury, repair costs, inconvenient outages, and fines. Every digging project, no matter how large or small, warrants contacting 811 by phone or online at www.tn811.com. Even small projects around the home, such as installing a mailbox, building a deck, planting a tree, or laying a patio, are just some examples of digging projects that legally require 811 locate requests to at least 3 working days before breaking ground. Again, this service is both legally required and free to all. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any comment or question regarding this committee report? We're now ready for Neighborhood and Community Services Committee. Chairman Shekina, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. The Community, Neighborhood, and Community Services, we will have our September meeting on Monday, the 8th of September at 4:30 in the City Conference room, City Hall Conference Room. We have a home rehabilitation update. Right now, we currently have 34 clients in various stages of intake, site review, and construction. In an effort to preserve our affordable housing stock, we're actually seeking low-income residents who still need critical home repairs. And these repairs include things such as HVAC failure, electrical, and plumbing components, as well as roof repairs. Our CAPER, which is an annual report, consolidated annual performance and evaluation report, is viewed for the public on tomorrow, the 5th of September. This is an annual report that is required by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, and it provides a summary of how the city uses its community development block grants and home funds over the past year. And it's an evaluation, and that will be detailed in this particular plan. And this plan would be reviewed during a public hearing on the 15th of September at 10 a.m. in the Community Neighborhood Services Conference Room. So again, on the 15th of September at 10 a.m., the Community Neighborhood Services Department will actually go over the CAPER report and answer any questions that anyone may have regarding that. So I invite all council members, if you're available, to attend that. And then lastly, we have a booth at the Women's Expo, which will be on the 20th of September. The staff will be available to share information about the home repair program, as well as highlight upcoming opportunities, to include the launch of the Financial Empowerment Center, Habitat's application period, and the Restore Clarksville initiative. Visitors can learn more about community, neighborhood, and community services endeavors by visiting Community Neighborhood Services or going to the Facebook link or calling directly to the office. That concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Any comment or question regarding this committee report? We're now ready for Parks and Recreation Committee. Chairman Zacharias, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Parks and Rec would like to invite everybody to step back in time at Fort Defiance during the annual Severe Day on September 13th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. This event brings Clarksville's 18th century history to life with engaging demonstrations from Native American and former reenactors. Frontier reenactors. Registration is not required. Just bring your curiosity and enjoy a day of history. Magic in the Park returns on December 27th. Step into a world of wonder at Liberty Park from 2 to 8 p.m. This spellbinding event features artisan vendors, crafts, whimsical treats, magical classes fit for curious minds of all ages. Do we happen to know if there's a city councilman emeritus Magicians Guild member who might be there?
He might be honorary.
Okay. All right. The downtown market is excited to welcome back the Children's Entrepreneur Market on Saturday, September 27th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Come shop, explore, and support the creativity and hard work of these young vendors. And on a personal note, look, the school system has to pay me to spend my day with middle school children, but I go to this for free, okay? I don't care how much money you think is enough to take to these child vendors, these entrepreneurs, but it's not enough, okay? They're doing great things out there. It's so much fun. And then finally, if you're interested in joining the Parks and Rec team as an athletic facility manager or a Parks and Recreation instructor, you can apply at the city's website. And for more information and a complete list of programs, classes, and ongoing activities, visit ClarksvilleParksRec.com. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Any comment or question regarding this committee report? We're ready for Public Safety Committee. Chairman Lovato, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I will start with Building and Codes. The Construction Division did over 3,300 total inspections. Our Code Enforcement Division did 385 new cases. Our Abatement Division did 55 work orders, and the total revenue generated was over $302,000. For our Clarksville Police Department, CPD is now nationally accredited by CALIA, and they recently had their file reviews and inspections conducted by those representatives and received an outstanding report thanks to Captain Gill and Sergeant Tramberg. They have some promotions coming up. Sergeant Richard Duke will be promoted to lieutenant. Officer Navarino will be promoted to sergeant. Officer Reynolds will be promoted to sergeant, and Officer Middleton will be promoted to sergeant. The following individuals will be recognized with life-saving awards. Sergeant Channing Bartell, Officer John Goodwin, Officer John Gonzalez, Officer Thomas Nichols, and Officer Gabriel Howard. We also want to thank Lieutenant Eddie Chandler, who is retiring this week with over 33 years of service to CPD. For Clarksville Fire and Rescue, we have 18 CFR recruits who have moved to week 6. They have advanced to the next phase of their 20-week academy. They have all passed their EMR portion of their training and will be taking the National Registry certification over the next couple of weeks. CFR has received its newest engine. It will be upfitted by CFR Maintenance and put in service at Station 2. CFR promoted 3 district chief officers to support the divisions: Fire Prevention, Neil Cherry; Maintenance, Chris Ireland; and Training, Mark Chandler. The public is also invited to attend the annual 9/11 ceremony at CFR headquarters on Thursday, September 11th at 9:30. This annual event is free to the public. CFR also has a retirement. Lieutenant Tim Willer retired from CFR on September 1st after 18 years. Lieutenant Willer most recently served at Station 10 and was part of the initial Blue Way response team, where he dedicated his time to improving the response to one of the city's most challenging assets. Lieutenant Willer will be pursuing his passion as a NICU nurse and an opportunity to achieve his PA license in that field. Congratulations and thank you for your service. And before I close out my report here, I would also like to wish a couple of early birthdays. Tomorrow, Chief Burdine's birthday is September 5th, and Chief Montgomery's is September 14th. So our birthday buddies should be sharing a milkshake. 1 milkshake, 2 straws. And that concludes my report.
I'd rather not see that, if that's okay with you. Thank you for that report. Any comment or question regarding that committee report? Transportation, Streets, and Garage Committee, Chairman Smith, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. The TSG reports are as follows for the month of August. First, Transportation Department, CTS transported a total of 48,036 riders for the month of August. Also, for fixed routes, buses, they transported 43,714 riders, which include 9,182 seniors who rode for free. Also, paratransit buses, they transported 4,322 riders. Now we will move on to the street department. The work orders completed for August was 371. Also, the Ringo sidewalks are completed. August pavement, which has been completed, are for roads as follows: Avondale Drive, Cedar Hill Drive, Cloverdale Drive, Evanston Ferry Road, Gin Hollow Road, Observatory Drive, Sun Valley Road, Hollingswood Boulevard, Meriwether Road, Northfield Drive, and Walnut Hills. Payment plan for the month of September are Dogwood Trail and Chloe Court. Road work continuing on the following projects: Spring Creek Parkway Phase 2, Tylertown Road, and Rossview and Dunbar Cave Road. That completes that report. We now move on to the City Garage. The total number of work orders for the month of August for the City Garage is 443. Let's see, fuel purchase by the City Garage for on-site fuel pumps for unleaded cost was $90,017.92 for a total gallons of 39,333. Diesel cost was $30,469 for a total gallons of 11,900. there was a decrease in unleaded gas. It was a decrease of 2%. The gas was $2.28 per gallon, and it is now $2.33. Fuel cost for diesel was a decrease as well, was 5% decrease. The cost was $2.52 per gallon, and now it's $2.66. This concludes my report.
All right, thank you. Any comment or question regarding this committee report? Seeing none, we're now ready for one item under new business, Resolution 18, 2025-26, a resolution approving the official designation of Oak Street from New Providence Boulevard to D Street to be designated as Kenny York Memorial Way. The Designations Committee voted for approval. I entertain a motion and a second.
A motion to approve.
Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of Resolution 18. Any comment or question regarding this resolution? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
12 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
Resolution 18 is adopted. We're now ready for mayor and council member comments. Any member have comments they wish to share? Councilman McLaughlin, you are recognized.
Thank you. The public is invited to attend the Montgomery County North Branch Library opening on Saturday, September 13th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The location is 435 Jordan Road, and maybe someday we'll have a safe passage from one side to the other. And that concludes my report.
I like the way you worked that in there. Councilman Peters, you're recognized.
She stole my thunder. But also the new animal shelter will be opening on the same day. There was their time to be starting will be at 10 o'clock from what I'm told, or 12 o'clock, I'm sorry. And also, just a small correction, Ringo Road sidewalks, unless they did them today, they have not been completed.
They must have gotten to them or they're just this close.
Yeah.
All right. Any other comment? That concludes our business. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Without objection, we're done. Thank you.